Come.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
You are Geetika,
Yes, sir.
civil engineer.
Yes, sir.
You passed out from National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra, Haryana. Your extracurricular activities are very interesting. And otherwise also, you have represented India in Global Youth Environment Forum, CO, in 2013. Then All India Essay Competition, you were the winner. Then zonal prize at debate, very different things, Dramatics team, second position, street play, first position, chess gold medal. How can you have so many qualities?
I believe I've kept myself very open to different experiences and I've never been scared enough to not try things. So once I tried things, many things, some things I was not too good at, some things I could do well, so I continued.
No, but you have excelled in everything. How it is possible?
So there are some things that I've not mentioned where I did not do as well as I intended to.
That's very good.
So, for example, I swim, but competitively I cannot swim.
Competitively. Okay.
Can't participate in competition.
So, my breathing exercises are not as good as they should be.
Okay. Just tell me one thing. What is this HIIT?
So, HIIT stands for Hyper Intensive Interval Training. It is a kind of anaerobic exercise which
Okay.
is done in a short amount of time and it
Okay.
can be done indoors.
Okay. And then you do it regularly?
So, mostly I try to do it regularly, but during preparation, some while I did.
Oh, that's
not.
okay.
Yes.
Otherwise, you do it regularly.
Yes, sir.
And then Arabic song, listening to latest Arabic songs. How
Yes.
did you develop this hobby?
So in 2013, when I went to the Global Youth Environment Forum, I had a grouping, and in that, all the other members were from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt. So they would talk a lot, and they would be good friends because they used to listen to music together, Arabic music. So I wanted to be a part of the group. So I also developed an interest, and then I continued.
Oh, very good. That's why you have gone in for first preference for IFS,
Yes, sir.
not IAS.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think you will be doing as IFS officer?
So the first thing that I think about when I think about getting into services is representing India and carrying that badge where under my name it says India, and I want to represent India in different platforms. Other than that, furthering the national interest and information gathering and serving as a place for fellow Indians outside home.
Outside home, good. And then what about this composing English epigrams?
So epigrams are something that come to me. Sometimes when I experience things, I think of things and then I want to write about them. And I'm very interested in couplets. There is this thing called haiku in Japanese. And when I learned about it, because do not know Japanese, I thought there must be something in English too. And so I continued in that direction and then I composed some couplets.
Like, for example?
So, for example, there is a couplet that I made. It was about me being my mother's daughter. So, do you want me to recite it?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So, it goes something like this: that all I have been before, and all that I have been after, all that was in the past, and all that is in the present. I have toughened my hands, toughened my heart, and flowed and freeze like water. Now, standing here, all in joy, what remains? Me, my mother's daughter.
Good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, just tell me, where did you have your education otherwise? All in Haldwani?
So, no, initially I was educated in Delhi.
Okay.
And then.
Delhi, you had your relations or what? Your father?
No, sir. My family used to stay in Delhi, and then my mother she got her job posting in Uttarakhand, So as a family, we moved to Uttarakhand.
What is your mother doing?
So my mother is an excise inspector.
Okay, so and your father?
So he's self-employed into business.
Into business.
Yes.
Okay. That's very good. So you are doing pretty well, and your achievements are really commendable. Hmm? Good.
So, you are interested in foreign affairs and international relations. No? Okay. Uh, last year, last year also there was a resolution in UN General Assembly about Myanmar, and because the military junta has taken over the elected government, elected government was thrown out, and a resolution was proposed in the UNGA against the military rule there. And India abstained from voting. Why did India abstain? What did it gain out of it?
So I would like to say that regarding our neighbors and Myanmar in particular, India's strategy has to be to engage with all players. While we do support democracy and its values, our policy of non intervention in the domestic affairs of other countries serves as a respect towards these differences that exist. And by doing that, we have protected our interests and we have tried to show.
Our interest.
So, it is important for India to learn from its past and engaging with junta because we do have a land boundary which is quite porous, and in that area there are some security concerns where we need to work with the junta. So, likewise, we have taken that decision.
Okay. Now in Sri Lanka, the crisis is going on. You know the reasons for that crisis. They have defaulted in a very big way. Now, after this default that they have declared, how will the economy revive there? What will happen in the long and short term?
So, in the short term, they have to really renegotiate some of their deals and economic policies that they have taken. They have to urge IMF, like there is a delegation that has gone to US, that they should be provided soft loans. They have to look at their relationships with their neighbors, other countries, who can also help Sri Lanka in getting certain softer loans as help. And in the long run,
In the neighboring countries, apart from India, who will give?
so I think Sri Lanka has to decide on their own merits, what they think is conducive, and
In the neighboring countries of Sri Lanka, apart from India, which country do you think will come and support financially?
so financially, I cannot think of any country, but in terms of moral support or pushing the international market to include Sri Lanka in the international capital market, or to push IMF to give loans, softer loans to Sri Lanka, then such support can help.
Even if loans are given, say by IMF or by India, how much will that be? That will be very small amount compared to the default that they have just announced. So, do you think that these loans will turn around the economy there?
Sir, as an immediate measure, because the conditions that exist today, it might help. But in the long run, there have to be bigger changes that the country needs to make. Regarding its policy, it has to be more prudent. And the policy need to have an economic angle always. Other than that, the kind of loans they are receiving and the agreements that they're having with other countries need to be more transparent. And they have to always keep in mind the financial viability of the projects that they're undertaking. And such far reaching changes, along with these short term measures, will eventually and slowly lead to a turnaround.
Yes, the loans, even if loans are taken, the loans have to be productively utilized. and wasteful expenditure has to be avoided by them. Yes, thank you.
Okay, Geetika, now you are interested in environment. You have led a delegation on this issue. So, what are the major concerns of environment today? What are the major challenges that the world faces?
So, the major challenge that the world is facing regarding environment today is global warming. Global warming and the rising temperatures, which are not stopping. The latest IPCC report, the sixth report, has already stated that even in the best case scenario, there has to be a 1.5-degree rise now. And all the
What has been the rise till now after the so-called pre-industrial period?
so the rise till now, so the rise in temperature till now has been close to 1.1 degrees centigrade, and it is slowly becoming 1.2 degrees centigrade now.
In this century, that is 20th century, how many years have been the warmest so far in the history of recorded temperatures?
So, as I am aware, 1998 was the first year which was the warmest in the decade. And after that, consecutively, 1 year has been warmer than the previous one. As to the exact year,
2016 has been the warmest so far, and maybe 2021 could be, they are not sure yet. Now, what has been the progress so far since the report of the Brundtland Commission in 87? How do you evaluate that progress on environment?
so the long-term progress, I would say, is in the mindset of people and the way there were certain questions and contradictions posed, as if climate change is real or not, has to an extent gone away. And more people, as they get educated and aware about this subject.
Yeah, but people now know that this is a challenge.
Yes.
So, on the ground, what is your assessment? Has there been any change or not yet?
Sir, I would say that on the ground, the change as much as it should have been has not taken place, and often the promises made are much higher, but the deliverance is not up to the mark.
Now, some countries also feel that the West has already, developed. They destroyed the environment, and now they are putting the burden on the South. And the South, this has become a hurdle. They don't want them to develop. So, how do you look at it?
Sir, I think that the global carbon space needs to be equitably distributed, and even the developing countries require some of that space to grow, because whenever there is development, there would be certain emissions. There was this ideal framework where technology transfer of funds could have taken place. However, somehow that has not been realized properly, and that needs to be worked on.
Okay. Now, my next question is, why do we need to have strong relations with US, and what are the precautions we need to take?
So, we need to have strong relations with any country that might have a say in the world affairs and would help us in pursuing our core national interest. United States of America has had a position of some kind of a leader in the world, and to have good relations with them, India has been able to get some concessions. For example, the Indo-US nuclear deal that we had, and in that manner we can also exercise our strategic autonomy, where we are able to tell the world that India has dehyphenated one-to-one relations.
Apart from leadership position of US, what are the other compelling regions which we should have good relations with US?
So I think in the domain of technology, they are very advanced, so we can learn a lot. We also have a very strong diaspora over there. So for the protection of our diaspora, having good relations with the United States is recommendable. And other than that, I think that United States and its allies are also, if we have good relations with the United States, then we also are getting in touch with its allies and a bigger group of countries.
And we also have a large trade with them.
Yes, sir. Our largest.
Very large trade, they're a big trade partner. So investments and technology, and trade and diaspora and leadership, all those come into play. And why should we be careful?
So we should be careful because the first thing that comes to my mind is the concept of big two. there is a chance that the big two countries, the other one being our greatest challenge, China and US led models can come up where India might lose some of its maneuverability. In that scenario,
That is in the future possibility, but what has been our experience in the past?
sir, our experience in the past has been that there are some sort of interventions that the United States tries to make and it tries to influence the decisions of a country that it tries to help.
No, no. We have a very bad experience when the Bangladesh war happened. They went entirely against India in favor of Pakistan. We have bad experience on many issues, including human rights issues, including issues on some of the regional issues, particularly with Pakistan, with other neighbors. So I think you should mention that. Okay, thank you, thank you.
So you were discussing the environment. Now, in terms of pollution also, the maximum cities which are not in the area are in India. Now, tell us what are the institutional and legal mechanism to control actually this pollution?
So there is the pollution control boards that we have, which are responsible for keeping in check the pollution.
Where they are?
So the central pollution control boards, and even at state levels, we have certain departments which work.
For example, which are the departments in the state?
So I'm sorry, I'm unable to recall this at the moment.
Now, what is the legal framework?
So the legal framework would be the Environment Protection Act and the various acts below its ambit.
Which are the various acts?
So, for example, the industrial affluents, they have to be controlled legally, and the way a discharge happens from an industry has to be monitored by the industry. And
But under which law?
so I think I'm not sure about it.
Which actually more on various laws actually which control the pollution. Okay, now which are the democratic institutions in our country?
So our judiciary, independent judiciary, is a democratic institution. Our legislature, our executive, and Election Commission of India, these are our democratic institutions.
What is the meaning of democratic institutions?
So democratic institutions at their core always work in pursuance of welfare of the people at large, so that the final power and authority in any nation lies in the hands of people.
Now where you will put the legislatures, the local bodies, where you will put them?
So can you please repeat?
The legislatures, the state legislature, then the parliament, the Lok Sabha, then the municipal bodies, municipal corporations, and the Panchayati Raj, 3-tier systems. Where they will fit into it.
Where they will fit into it.
Yeah.
So the legislature part would be a part of our parliament, the two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, along with the president. And at state level, we have the state legislative assemblies in unicameral systems. And our third tier, which is the urban local bodies and Panchayati Raj, they have been.
This will be third tier.
So yes, so the urban local bodies and Panchayati Raj
But
institutions.
when you say third tier, then which are the tier 1 and 2? First and second?
So first would be at the central level, and the second would be at the state level, and the third one is at the local level.
Local level. Now explain the local level institutions.
So local level institutions in urban bodies, it would be the urban local institutions, and in rural areas, it will be the Panchayati Raj institutions.
Which are the Panchayati Raj institutions?
Sir, there would be a Gram Sabha, and then there would be the
Gram Sabha or Gram Panchayat?
So Gram Panchayat, and the Gram Sabha is the body which
What is the body? It's a Gram Sabha. Gram Panchayat is the body, local body. Yes. Then next.
So there will be the 5 punches which are elected by the.
Above that.
Above that, there would be a block.
What will be the name of that?
BDO is the officer that serves block.
Body.
What is the name of the body?
So I think I'm unable to recall at this moment.
Then above that,
So that above block there would be a district level organization. So I think I'm getting confused a bit.
No, you are not getting confused. You just explain the name of these organizations. For example, in district collector's office is known as collectorate.
Yes.
So for developmental activities, what is the organization?
So for developmental activities in a district.
Which is headed by Jila Pramukh or Jila Parishad, something of that sort.
So I think it's
Jila Parishad. It's called Jila Parishad.
So sorry, sir.
No, it's okay.
Geetika is, what does it mean?
Sir, Geetika is a Sanskrit origin name meaning a little poem.
That's how you write, right?
So yes, I do write little poems.
What do you call a spade?
A spade.
Or spade? S-P-A-D-E.
So I think
What will you call a spade, or an instrument to dig with?
so a spade, an instrument to dig with.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What will I call it?
Yeah, you will call it a spade, or you would prefer to call it an instrument to dig with.
So I believe.
It's getting a little heavier, right?
Yes, sir. I think.
A spade is a spade.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sure that your declamation and poetic talent will give you good standing in as a diplomat. That's what you are aspiring for, right? About Pakistan-India relations, tell me, what do you feel?
So I think that the new insistence on having meaningful ties with India of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is leading us to a bright prospect, and even our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has welcomed that step. And if we can have good, meaningful ties with our neighbor, then it will open up many opportunities for us. Our security concerns can get addressed, and our trade transit, we can find a route, and there are different tourism, even tourism can develop in that area.
Okay. The other part of Kashmir, we call it as Pakistan occupied Kashmir, right?
Yes.
This side of Kashmir, which is with India, what Pakistan refers to it as?
So Pakistan refers it as India occupied Kashmir.
India administered Kashmir.
And so there is also this
It
concept,
refers to as what?
India administered Kashmir.
Administered Kashmir. You think one of the suggestions always is, when we think of retrieving that Pakistani occupied Kashmir, one of the alternatives is to sort of retrieve it through military means. Is it? You agree with that?
So I believe that we have always been in favor of promoting international law, and in that respect, to unprovoked, if we try to have a military action over there, it might bring certain repercussions. So that might not be the best strategy.
So what would be the best strategy?
So at this moment, what I believe is that the heart and mind strategy of India, where we have to win the confidence of the people who live there, and we have to show them by example that the Indian administered side is developing so fast, and they themselves would see that under India a kind of a consensus is being formed, and then there can be a
We
public.
are complicating it more than what it is already. Specific question. They say, experts say, that in Pakistan, their army is a more durable and a reliable power center, right? And without their consent, no solutions would be available, whether diplomatically or otherwise. So, would you suggest that India should talk to the Pakistani military besides talking to their political establishment?
So,
Should there be three parties in the talk? India, Pakistan's government, and Pakistan's military establishment.
so I think my answer on this would be that we have to engage in talks with their elected government, and there is some kind of hope that the democracy will mature and the deep state as it exists would find a resolution for them to be a proper democracy, but for us to intervene and manage such diverse players, even when some contradictions exist even within the elected representatives and military. Some contradictions are existing, and for India to enter that might be a bit tricky.
Your last question. You are a student of political science.
Yes.
Would you suggest some changes to the Indian constitution?
So,
Or it is perfect?
so I believe the constitution as it is a living document, to me it does feel a bit perfect because we are able to have certain core values, and it does provide us some flexibility where according to the time it has been evolving. So
And under so many amendments so far, so many amendments, has it not been changed?
So I would like to refer.
Some of the basic structures and features have been changed.
Sir,
You mean it is becoming perfect?
Sir, I believe that there is a pursuance towards perfection always, and the ability of the Constitution to allow us to make it so flexible, and it has the ability to evolve with time. This, in and of itself, is a very nice characteristic that our Constitution already has.
Okay, thank you, Geetika.
Thank you so much.
Beta,
Thank
please
you.
wait outside, we shall call you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come, beta, come.
Thank you so much, sir.
Better. Geetika, your education record has been excellent. I was just going through your scores in different exams. So, was it in your habit or what? Or you were always having this fire to excel? What was that?
So I think growing up, I was a good student naturally because I was very interested in whatever was being taught to me. And at home, my mother used to study a lot. So I had very positive kind of feelings when I would study. So once you start being a good student, then there is this good pressure from teachers to be good.
What was your position in NIT final exam?
So NIT, we were not told that because during coronavirus, I got graduated.
Okay.
So I was not
You
told
were
that.
not told that. That's right. Okay. So what the board finds about you is that you are an excellent candidate.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and you have very high chances of getting what you are willing for or wishing for.
Thank you.
But you are fully capable of facing any situation, and that you yourself told in the initial stages, and here also we felt the same. You articulate your answers perfectly. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Now, there are few suggestions which we want to give. We want that there should be no possibility of any miss anywhere, right? How did you do in your written exam?
So from my end, they have been good.
Have been good. How was your essay?
So surprisingly, essay was nice for me. For me, it was a good surprise because I was always looking forward for philosophical essays, and this time instead
Both
of
the essays were philosophical.
Philosophical, yes.
Both essays were connected with GS4.
yes,
That is the importance of GS4. So you get around 400 marks covered by that. That's a very good thing. Okay. So the first suggestion is you have a lot of urban background. And as your first posting, you will be posted somewhere in rural areas. Initially for training before going for IFS and joining the service, and these local trainings which you are doing. Or when you go outside, suppose you are accompanying your ambassador in some meeting, there is some conversation going on. For that conversation, for that particular conversation, what will be the points of observation for you? You are such a young child, you are just joining the service, the ambassador is taking you along so that you can observe what is happening. So what would be your focal point of observation?
So the focal point of observation while we are we're going somewhere. So I think the first thing that I would like to observe is how the people are living their lives and the traffic of that place, and what is the basic culture, the feeling that you get when you are in a place, and what are the things that are different or similar to from where I am.
And have you ever visited any rural areas?
So yes, I have.
When did you do it?
So originally I am from Julaghat, so that is a border village in Pithoragarh. So I've spent quite some time as a child there.
Okay. And any local body have you visited in Delhi?
So no, I'm not.
You should do these two things. When is your interview?
So 6th of May.
6th of May. So you have time. So you have to do one very smart thing so that you don't miss anything in the interview. Don't think that everything will be asked only on foreign services or foreign affairs. They would explore you in other areas also. Now, what you should do is you visit any of the local bodies here, municipal corporation or any public office or any school here in Delhi. You should visit a school, which is now very famous mechanism of imparting education in Delhi. People accept it that even government servants have started sending their children to these schools. You should visit that school. Make observations about the happiness of the children. Government may say anything, that we have done such a great thing, this, every government says. But you should make an analysis. What is happening? You just take permission of the principal, they will allow you.
Okay, sir.
You tell that I am appearing in civil services interview, I just want to have your observation. Number one. Go to some local body, municipal corporation, Delhi, or new combination, whatsoever they are making. There you see what problems are being faced by the people. Whether they are getting proper treatment from the officers or not. Right?
Yes.
Whatever the equation gets developed between the officials and the people who are taking their petitions or some assistance, some patta or whatsoever it is. So are they really being assisted? If you find no, the answer is no, suppose, then you prepare a note, separate note on A4 size paper, that this is what I observed and this is what I think should be happening. Right? So that when something is asked about what will you do in urban administration or urban local administration, you should have fully prepared the real life experience so that you can talk about these things that I have personally seen. This should be there, that I have personally seen these things. Then suppose you get posted somewhere, you are not posted in IFS suppose, so you get IAS. By that, this is not pakka that you will always get, we wish that you will get and you have all the capacity. But for interview you should be prepared for other things also. Yes. You cannot take chances. Now suppose you are posted in some district as district magistrate. What will you do when you join the first day or first few days in the district? What would you like to do?
So the very first day?
First week or?
So I think the first step would be socialization and trying to know the place better through its people and interacting with them and trying to learn what their experience have been and to move a step forward using their experiences as well and to then test out whether what they are saying, how much of it is true.
And afterwards?
So then afterwards, the way I see it, I've always wanted to make my presence felt and to make people believe that I am available, even to students, young girls. I think that young women should not only be at good posts, they should be visible to everybody that, oh, she is at a post and this can be done. So that is something that I think about.
So how will you do that?
So I'm not sure whether it is allowed or not, but whatever time I can get, even outside my other responsibilities, I would want to organize seminars. And when we were in school, our district magistrate used to invite us, and only top 10 used to be invited, and that was such a great experience. We used to get so much exposure. I would want that, no, everybody should be invited. Like, there should be a provision that not only top 10, all students can come and visit me. So that is something.
Okay, this is one. Then one thing which you should remember,
Yes, sir.
that apart from this is very good what you are talking about, but the major duty of the district collector is to go and feel the problems being faced by the people.
Yes.
So in first few days after meeting officers and all those things, you have to make visit to all the SEAL headquarters or sub-division headquarters in the district, so that you get to know the problems of the people. And there you can throw a very beautiful idea in the interview, that I will sit with them. I will let them feel that, as you said, that you should be visible. So you should be visible not only to the women of the district or the village where you are going, but to the men also.
Yes.
So women should be able to feel that you are coming there to hear their problems, to listen to them. What are the issues existing in the village?
Yes.
That will make you strong. So in the end, what you can conclude is that as district collector, I would like to become my man. Men, remember it, not women. My man is a special phrase. It's not. It does not. It is basically gender neutral. So I would like to become my man for these downtrodden, poor, and the people who are facing a lot of issues. So I will develop, when I am visiting, I will develop confidence in them. So whenever they have problem, they can come to me, inform me on phone, and I will be available to them for helping them. This you have to tell. So I would like to become my man for them. So whenever someone comes to your office, he opens the door. He remembers, oh, Geetika ma'am. She will listen to me and try to solve my problem. This trust relationship you will try to develop.
Yes.
That's what has to be spoken by you. Are you finding it some strong, very strong thing?
Yes, sir.
Because this will distinguish you, and this will make you, along with your other qualities, this will add to what you are dreaming of. Okay?
Yes.
So this is one thing. Secondly, you must already be doing a thorough study of Diplomat magazine. Are you doing it or not?
So I'm currently trying to study deeply the foreign policy that we have as a nation, and then on that I'm studying.
What you do
different
is,
things. Yes.
that is okay. But what you do, you take this Diplomat magazine. It's freely available on internet.
The diplomat.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Last 6 issues, where on those articles where they have talked about India, specifically they have talked about India. So what is the future of India? What is relationship with different countries? What should actually happen? And what they envisage for us? This is their perception. It need not be correct, but there is very, very good analysis. So that will give you strength in making your arguments. When you are contesting, suppose in the interview some question is asked and you are contesting your case. So these arguments and these basis of analysis become very, very helpful. So please go to that next Diplomat. One. Secondly, you should do chapter 2 and chapter 4
Yes, sir.
of economic survey thoroughly. And if you find that is too much complicated, you can go to Unacademy site, YouTube, and there we have tried to explain it, chapter 2 and chapter 4, in simple way.
Yes.
Or you can even ask for the simplified notes on that. They're very, very important for you, right? Because then it will give you real understanding of what is happening in the country, the basic principles of economy. Then budget.
Yes.
Can you tell me what is the theme of the budget this time?
So, I think I'm not very
So
thorough
you
with
should
it.
study.
I
You should study the budget in summary form. Yeah? What is the theme of the budget? What are the new things which have been announced in the budget? Can you tell me something new which has been announced in the budget?
So 30% taxation on all the crypto.
This is okay. This does not affect common man.
So
You should never speak these things which are not affecting common man. They are right, but you should speak only those things which are affecting the common man.
the common man. So I think I can't think of it.
So you search for it. So you
Yes.
study budget summary thoroughly. Okay.
Yes.
Then also make it a point to make your understanding very clear
Yes.
on societal issues in Northeast.
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 Okay. Sir.
And then coming to your hill areas. Now most of the people living in the hill areas at present, they are trying to come to lower areas, cities and all those things. They don't want to stay there.
Yes.
This is the truth. I know this is the truth.
Yes.
Why it is happening? Why it is happening? It's a very important issue for you.
Yes.
There will be some member who will be probing you on this. That why people are in such a beautiful places, all super beautiful places. Why do people want to leave those places and come to urban areas? What is there which is lacking in hills that people want to come to plains? Should be prepared.
Yes.
Remember it. This will give you a very, very great in-depth study of your area.
Yes.
Then another issue which you should be preparing for is that the position of women in Indian society is now becoming stronger. Right? Even then, they are not treated equal to men. They are working very hard. They are coming up. They are showing their strength. Everything is happening. But even then,
Yes.
in most of the circumstances, if you just see the important secretaries to Government of India, you will find that most of them are men. Why? When women are doing very good, excellent work they are doing.
Yes. Sir.
They should be treated like that only. What is happening? What should happen? Right?
Yes.
This should be analysis. Then we have seen few girls who have come here for mock interview, and they are from very rural background, very, very rural background. Now the basic issue is that in such rural background, how do we give strength? How do we give them strength so that they come up in the society? In urban areas, okay, you are living here, so you have different type of background. You are all around. You are having a protected area. You can fight out the things. But in the rural areas, the girls cannot do.
Yes.
Right? And lastly, which we want to suggest, that at the time of the interview,
Yes.
you should be able to tell something about government schemes, whether they are successful or not, especially those schemes which have been declared in 2021. What has happened to them? The important announcements made by the government. Right? Important announcements made by the government, and what is their personal present status. That you can come to know by going to the specific government sites. Right? The ministry sites, or you just scan through the Google, and you will come to know what has happened to those schemes. That is very important. Then you can explain to the board that yes, we have introduced this scheme, and this has resulted into this, and still there are few things which are lacking, which can be improved like this. Right?
Yes.
There are few things which are lacking, which can be improved like this. So your suggestion part will come. That will make the perfect answer. Right?
Yes.
Anything in your mind if you want to ask?
So regarding, I've gotten certain situational questions that this and this has happened, and a lot of times it's a very sensitive issue. And then There's no one right answer. But if I do not take a side, then I've often been pushed, no, you have to take a side.
No, you don't have to
So
take a
then-
side. Remember, my child,
Yes.
you don't have to take a side. First of all, in all these sensitive situations, you take help of whom? Whom you can take help of in the interview?
So I try to take help from whatever the official stance of our country is.
Constitution,
Constitution, yes.
not the official stand. You take the help of Constitution. Always answer in such questions that I will follow the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
I will follow the law. Whatsoever is provided by whatsoever is enshrined in the Constitution, that will be my path.
Yes.
So don't involve yourself in here or there. They won't. And they will want to. ये सब जो बताते हैं ना mock interviews वाले सब गलत बताते हैं आपको. You never fall in that trap. फिर आपको एक ना एक stand लोगे. Then there will be some people who will be unhappy with that stand. Others might be happy, but there will be others who are unhappy with that stand.
So, yes.
So you will lose the ground. The best thing is that I will follow constitutional provisions. I will follow the law.
And you are taking side. What
You
is
then-
that? You are taking side.
you are taking side.
of the Constitution.
Constitution. You take the side of the Constitution. You take assistance of the Constitution, not the government. So what's the government saying is all the government, because government will never say anything against Constitution. Remember it.
Yes.
Publicly or declaring the policy, they will not go against the Constitution. So you should take a stand. Yes, I will follow the Constitution. Wherever is the situation, I will go by this Supreme Court judgments, which are now law of the land, or I will follow the Constitution. Right?
Yes.
Anything else you want?
So that is all.
Thank you. All the
Thank you,
very
sir.
best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
You should do that.
Thank you so much,
You'll do
sir.
very well.
Thank you,
You
sir.
will certainly.
Thank you so much, sir.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.